I see chicken at the grocery store that'll be like,
Free
no antibiotics, no this, no that. Dude, when my dad grew chickens, we were pumping them full of antibiotics all the time. Anytime they were sick, gallons of it rolling through the chicken house in their water.
What did your dad do? Did he turn eggs into little chickens and then move
little
it somewhere
chickens
else?
into big chickens? And
little chickens into big chicken. Okay.
And then those got slaughtered for meat, for things like lean cuisines and stuff like that. They use a certain type of chicken and a certain size of chicken for various things.
So someone else turned eggs into little chickens. You got those and turned them into.
So the company itself in-house they have a hatchery. And so they turn eggs into little chickens, and then they murder all the, maybe it's all the males or all the, they murder a huge amount of them. They grind them up. And then
that's pretty fucked.
That's where chicken nuggets come from.
I wish.
It turns them into a nice pink paste that we all enjoy.
And so my dad what that job does is they contract for a poultry company like ConAgra or I don't know why I can't think of
Tyson.
That's a good, perfect example. One of those big corporations, and they deliver 25,000 baby chicks, little peeps, beep, 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 100 in a pack, and you hand put them in the house, like 25,000 chickens, and then he raises those from, I think they're a day or 3 days old, somewhere in there, and they go from that to 6 to 7 weeks, and they become a 5 to 8 pound bird in 6 to 7 weeks that's fully grown and white and fluffy and ready to be eaten.
Okay.
Sounds yummy.
Full of
when the chicks are delivered, they're little yellow things, right?
Yeah.
Do they come in a box? Is it a kennel like a dog would be in?
So you have this tray, and it's about 1.5 feet, 2 feet wide and about 3 feet long. It looks kind of like a laundry basket, but not as tall. Mm-hmm. And they stack on top of each other in such a way that if you turn it 180 degrees, they'll sit flat, completely flat. Like the depression in the first one will completely go to the bottom of the next one. But if you turn it 180 degrees the other way, there's a catch, so that you can have chicks in a basket and they put another basket on top of that, and they're not crushed. There's just a roof on them now. And so you have a stack of 15 of those.
Are they divided into little quadrants like a grid, or are they just all free in there, like 20?
There's all free in there. There's 100 of them just thrown into this basket, and then you stack 15 baskets on top of each other for 1,500 chickens, and then you put X amount of those towers of baskets onto a truck, and you back that through our trailer. There's different ways to do it through the chicken house, and slowly it goes into the house, and then it slowly drives back out as people manually on either side grab a tray of chickens, toss them on the floor, and go through the rigmarole of getting all the trays stacked correctly. And
there's no forklift involved. It's humans one tray at a time.
The forklift moves it loads the 1,500 stacks of chickens onto the truck. But when it's time for us to put them in, it's all manual from there. It's a lot of dragging and sliding. They slide really easily. You throw some sand on a metal deck of a trailer, and all of a sudden it's got a little enough friction you're not going to fall, but enough slipperiness that they just slide really well and roll around. But it's all manual, putting 25,000 chickens in.
Do they make you said there's 2,500 chickens in one place. Do they get
1,000? Oh yeah, they're baking in there, but they love it. So when they're little, they want to be at over 100 degrees. They want to be incubated. They want to be hot. So early on, especially in the winter, you're burning huge amounts of gas because you're heating this huge, poorly insulated building up to the 90s, 90 degrees or something like that. I don't remember the exact temperature, but it's high. It's something like that. It's real hot in there. So when you're working in there, you're just baking, and there's a lot of ammonia from the litter. So it's a rough situation.
Yucky. I thought the birds would create heat. I've been in the dance floor where they make the place hot.
Oh yeah. Like when you put your hand over the basket of them, you can feel the heat radiating off of them.
Really?
And they're just all in there. It's a deafening cacophony of beep 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 beep. It all just sort of forms.
Are they all nice? Are they sweet animals, or are they?
I mean, they're too little to be sweet. They're just they're little bitty. If you sit on the ground or if you make a noise, they'll all respond as a group. They'll all move together. Yeah, like a school of fish or something like that. If you sit, they'll come to you because they think you're their mother. They'll all crawl all over you and bunch up together.
Did you ever do that, or was that gross?
Sure, they're not dirty.
Yeah.
They're brand new. They've pooped once each. They have their first poop that day. I think on and it's everywhere. It's disgusting. It's a dirty job.
Yeah. So I guess at one point they all kind of age at the same time, and that building goes empty. You clean it and prep it for a new one.
Yeah, when they get to when it's time to be slaughtered, they show up with manual labor again. They have a forklift type thing that goes really fast. It's got 3 wheels. They drive it like a bat out of hell. They crash into the building frequently. They have all sorts of accidents, but they're on a deadline. They got to pick. It was easy to put 25,000 1-ounce chickens in. Now you're taking 25,000 6-pound chickens out. So they go in there and manually grab huge handfuls of them by their feet and throw them into cages. And then the cages are carried by a forklift and put on those You've probably seen a semi truck going down the road full of white birds. Each of those cages you're seeing comes off with a forklift, and they drive that cage through the house for Mexicans to manually just throw the birds into that cage.
So how does the money work? Did your father buy, did you say 25,000 birds?
No.
And then sell 25,000 birds?
So he doesn't pay for the chickens. He doesn't pay for the feed. He pays for everything else, though. And he gets paid per pound based on a sliding scale that's determined by a lot of things. It's how you stack up against the rest of the people who sold in the same week as you. Everyone who sold in that week is ranked together on a list 1 to 20, 1 to 30, depends how big the company is. And what you're trying to do is achieve a high feed conversion. How much feed you use to create how many pounds of chicken. And you'll see that decimal point. And the better that is, the lower that is, the more you get paid per pound. So there's a flat rate. You bottom out, but it's like, fuck. And if you're at the bottom of the list enough, they cut you. And if they cut you, you're a contractor. So you still have that, $1.5 million note to pay on. And all of a sudden you don't have birds. Like that's why farmers are, and you've probably seen exposés where the farmers are really at the mercy of the poultry companies in that regard, because they'll come in, you'll pay off your $1.5 million note, and they'll say, if you want to keep selling with us, you need to upgrade. And it won't be a little upgrade. It won't be a $10,000 upgrade. It'll be an $80,000 upgrade. And in 2 years, it'll be another $100,000 upgrade, and on and on and on. Every couple of years, they want another $100,000 out of you.
Who are you getting this from? Because when you first started saying these upgrades, I imagined it was you making the building bigger, or you by investing in a tractor. But now it sounds like Tyson is selling it to you.
No. So it's they want a different kind of heater, a more efficient type of heater. They want one of the big things back in the day. They used to have curtains down the sides of the houses, because in the old days, in the summer, you just drop the curtains down, and air would be able to get in and circulate and stuff. And you had chicken wire along the entire sides of these buildings. These buildings are 50 feet wide, 500 feet long, and so you had incredibly long curtains that were winched up and down all the time. But in modern houses, they want everything completely insulated, darked out, blackened in there, and they use what's called tunnel ventilation, which is exactly what it sounds like. A huge group of fans at one end of the house sucking, and an opening at the front where you draw air through wet cardboard cool pads, cool cells. There's a whole system where you have these cardboard type material cool cells, and they filter, they run water through them, and then they draw all that air through those, and that air conditions the chicken house so they don't all die in the summer. Because the big birds are really sensitive to high temperature. They're manufactured by man. They're not supposed to exist like that. The chickens are supposed to be in your yard running around defending themselves, and at night they fly up and roost in a tree so that the foxes don't get them. But we created these chickens that are so fat they can't support their own weight. Their legs are frequently broken and fucked up, and each chicken gets 1 square foot. So they don't move.
That's not a lot. Were you alive? Like, do you remember your father starting this business, or was that before you were born? Oh, you did. When I was 4 or 5, he bought his first 4 chicken houses, or maybe he bought 2, built 2, and then he built 2 more about 5 years later.
So this wasn't your grandfather, like a family thing. He kicked it off.
No, my dad had a different business before this. Like, conversion vans were really hot in the 80s, and they had a whole business making conversion vans where they were turning out it was a big business. It was when that crashed, he took his money from that and spooled it into the poultry. He bought a poultry farm, and it came with all that land that I blew shit up on.